Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, it's been a while. What are the chances my ex comes back to me? What are the chances my ex comes back to me? What What's the odds my ex comes back to me? If I do everything right, will my ex come back to me? Those are the topics. Those are the questions. Let's get into it. If you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like it, don't like it. It's better to have an opinion. If you want to get my take on a story of your breakup or your story of your breakup, please send it into writemac.com. It's right on the comments here, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story, and I could give you my take in a live stream video on this. If you don't want to share your story publicly, you want more feedback on your story, there's a private paid video response that you can do on my website, or you go straight to the live coaching, which is a Skype, FaceTime, or Google Hangouts session where we talk on a video, fully unpack your situation for an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. I've gone four plus hours talking to one person about their breakup, and they needed it. So if you want to do that, go to writemac.com, check it out. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and you'll get notified every time I drop a live stream, which is going to be a lot this coming month. I've been out and about, but I'm getting back on deck, folks, and we'll have the live streams regularly, and we'll have them scheduled. If you want to join my Instagram, it's Coach Mac McCarthy at Instagram. I got some pictures up there. I live in Thailand, so I'm always posting the sunsets and things like that. Let's get into it, folks. What are the chances my ex comes back to me? Have you ever thought about that? What are the chances? It's like, if you ask me that question, I don't know. Good question. It would be a complete guess if someone said, what are the chances my ex comes back to me? Now, if you send me your full story or we talk in a live coaching session, I can't guarantee what your chances are, but I can give you more of a read. In certain situations, like today, I had a live coaching session earlier this morning. This guy I was talking to, I was like, oh, yeah, she's going to come back. This individual will come back. The question is, do you want her back, or are the problems that you've been dealing with going to happen again and again? Now, that's a different situation that you need to be cognizant and aware of, because it's totally different, right? It's like, well, she can come back. Well, yeah, the chances of someone coming back, if they've already done it before, are elevated. So for example, let's say you've been in a relationship for 6 months, a year and a half, and when you break up or you've broken up before, it's become a playbook that within a week, 2 weeks, a month, the individual comes back to you, says sorry. You're always developing a playbook. He does this, I do that. She does this, I do that. He does this, I do that. She does this, I do that. He does this, I do that. And you guys develop this sort of, when that happens, this happens. And the same thing happens if people have a habit of breaking up with each other, which I don't think is a healthy thing in a relationship. But people somehow, we've broken up 6 times in the last year. That's not really a good relationship. In those situations, there's usually an individual that uses breaking up as a way to win an argument, and that's dangerous. It's not nice. It's hurtful, and it's kneecap theory is what I call it. Instead of actually negotiating your way through an argument or a disagreement, or even saying, let's just disagree. Let's just agree to disagree, which is much better. Someone goes, no, I'm breaking up with you, because they want to win the argument and they go cheap. What's up, Johnny? How's New Jersey treating you? Hey, coach, I'd just like to check in. My ex texted me a few days ago after a few months of us being apart. She wanted to catch up. Well, good for you. Is that a good thing, Peppa Pig? I was just thinking about you, bro. Well, thanks. So, Johnny, I'm happy that you're doing okay and thinking about me, and I hope you're well, bud. So, hope your relationship's going well too. So if you really want to know what the chances are of your ex coming back, if you wanted my opinion on that, the best thing to do would be to write out your story and send it into writemac.com or book a live coaching session. Why? Because I need to know all the information and get down to the nitty gritty. That being said, at the end of the day, what are the chances? Who knows? I mean, when you ask yourself that question, you're going to come up with some kind of logic or reason to support what you want to believe. And that's why there's a lot of value in talking to someone like myself or talking to another coach out there or a therapist and getting an objective, non-biased opinion about your situation, because that makes a difference. It makes a difference in legitimately telling you what the chances are. A lot of times there is a high chance your ex is going to pop in the door, is what I call it. In other words, someone will go, oh yeah, my ex has always come back. For what? A knock at the door to see how you're doing? A phone call or a text? That doesn't mean your ex came back to you. That means your ex checked in on you to see if you were okay, if you were still interested. But the amount of people that I've had leave notes or comments where they go, oh, exes always come back. That's complete horseshit. The idea that, that always happens because it happened to you. The thing that is suspect to me, how many times has this happened to you? 1 time or 2 times? So suddenly that happens to everyone in the world. Secondly, what actually happened? Because a lot of times when I ask more questions, they'll say, oh, they called me and I was dating someone else, just like Pepper Pig. Okay, that doesn't mean your ex came back to you. That means your ex called you and was interested to know what you were up to or if you're doing okay. And you somehow elevated that to a situation where they came back to me. They wanted me back. Really? So what are the chances my ex comes back to me? In most cases, it really depends on how the relationship ended and how the playbook is being ran in your relationships when a breakup happens. For example, the breakup that I've circled back to many, 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 many times on this channel, relationship was 4.5, 5 years. I don't know what exactly the time frame, but we lived together. It was a very good relationship for the most part until it wasn't, which is what happens in good relationships. But we never broke up and then just got back together. That's why when we broke up at 4.5, 5 years, it was a big deal, because this is serious. There was no playbook where it was like, oh, this is what we do, and then we get back together. And you also need to take into account, when you think about what are the chances of my ex coming back? What are the chances my ex comes back to me? When you're thinking about that, if your ex is a stubborn individual or an individual that keeps their word, they're really into, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, then it's gonna be one of those things, mindset and character wise, regardless of how the breakup went down. Hey, I don't go back on my word. Hey, I'm the type of person, I'll never go back. If someone makes a statement, I never go back to my exes, or makes the statements like I'm done's a big one. There's a higher propensity for them to stay broken up because they're making declarations about it. That being said, it's no guarantee. So next question, what's the odds my ex comes back to me? A lot of times people will do a live coaching session with me. We'll unpack things for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. And at the end, they'll go, hey man, just tell me, what do you think the odds are? I'm not Vegas. I don't know the odds. A lot of times I tell people 50-50. Now, there are times where I'm like, this individual, I would say 90 to 100% are going to come back. And it's usually individuals that are highly insecure. They're game playing. They've broken up with you multiple times and came back to you multiple times. They're generally manipulative, and they're using the breakup as a weapon to win an argument. And so those kinds of people will come back more or less than the other ones. That being said, you never want to sit on the idea that there's a good chance they're going to come back, so I'm just going to wait. There's a good chance that they'll come back to me. And you have to get into your head, like, what's the best case scenario? What is it you really want? During your breakup, you want to cipher through everything and go, what do I really want? What would be the ideal situation for me? I mean, because it's not always just the person comes back. It's, did they get a job? Did they quit drinking? Are they still jealous? Like, are these problems being shed? All right, John Beddard. Wow. I remember you, Johnny. The married man of 29 years? Yeah. What the fuck's going on? You've never done a live coaching. Okay, so sent me quite a few emails. I know exactly who your name is, John. First time on a live stream. Peppa Pig, hey coach, I'd just like to check in. Okay. I was just thinking about you, bro. Is she still here and there? I'm dating someone else, so I didn't meet up with her. I have no ill will towards her. I broke it off for a reason. Good for you, Peppa Pig. That's a great place to be in, and I'm happy with it. With her saying, I would like to catch up. I do care, count as her wanting me back? Not necessarily. She's interested to know what you're up to, and she's popping her head in the door, but it doesn't mean she's necessarily all in. See, the thing is, she's interested in seeing where you're at and what you're up to, and maybe, getting coffee, lunch, or whatever it is you guys do when you hang out or have a phone conversation. But that does not, I'll tell you one that's overlooked. Your ex is in a weak moment. Something happened in their life. They lost a job. They lost a loved one. They lost a new partner that they've been with since they've been with you, whether that was a rebound or monkey branching, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're in a weak moment, and they don't necessarily always want you back. They might see the human mind's one of those things. Oh, I kind of wish Peppa Pig was back. I kind of wish, my old Peppa Pig was here. I miss her or him now, because I don't know if Peppa Pig's a boy or a girl. It's like, yeah, in a moment, and then they talk to you, and there's something that you say or do that triggers them back to the reason why they broke up with you, and then it's no longer there. The other part is they might just want to talk to someone that they really care about and they miss, not someone that they want to necessarily start intimately being involved with again. And so this is the thing, like, do they want to get back with me? Not necessarily. They could just want to get back into contact with you. I'm having trouble giving her what she wants. She says I'm not affectionate or romantic. She tells me what she likes, and I end up doing it in my way, but not the way she wants. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, in that case, if you don't feel like you're doing something wrong, some individuals just aren't affectionate or romantic by nature, and a lot of that has to do with the fact of how you were raised and your family lifestyle. And your family wasn't ones to give hugs and kisses and hugs and, oh, come here, baby. I wasn't raised that way. And so I tend to be less affectionate and definitely less romantic. But that doesn't mean I don't care. Now, if you're being accused of basically what someone's doing, oh, Johnny, in the relationship, or in this case, your girlfriend, is she's saying, this is what I want, and this is what I like, and this is what I want, and this is what I like. And it's kind of like, has she ever thought about what you like and what you want and where you're coming from? And you don't want to be in a relationship when you get into a situation where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Does that mean, translation, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong? Johnny Beddard. Hi, Mac. John from Australia. You might remember me. My ex was together 29 years. Very little contact with her. Occasional text that she's never came back as yet anyways. Was it wrong of me not to wish her a happy birthday on July 25th? John, if you could just give her a happy birthday and have nothing attached to the happy birthday, like, oh, I hope we get back together. Oh, I hope she appreciates it. If you just, for example, if you give a friend or a colleague a happy birthday and they go, thank you, John, you go, okay. If they don't respond, you kind of go, oh, that was kind of weird. They didn't even respond to it. You give a happy birthday to give a happy birthday, nothing else attached to it. John, it's been a while. 29 years is a long relationship, and that's a very probably long healing period. I do recommend that you do a live coaching session with myself at some point to unpack this thing. I remember your emails. Go to writemac.com and book it. If it's not helpful and useful, I'll give you your money back, as I always offer. I don't promise to get your ex back. I do remember, John, for your particular situation, you were extremely interested in getting her back, and she was unreceptive. And so, when you're in a breakup and you try, and I would say that when the longer the years and marriage and assets and kids are involved, I think that there's more of an effort to be placed. I think there's more to lose, and it's deeper than just you and her. That being said, if you have a partner that you broke up with, you divorced, and you're not with, and you want to get back with them, and they're completely let me reiterate, completely unreceptive to any efforts, you need to back the hell off, lick your wounds, accept the breakup, work on yourself for yourself, and heal through it. Because the idea of you not understanding that they're not being receptive or they're not interested, they're not even meeting you a quarter of the way on the bridge rather than halfway on the bridge. You know, when you make an attempt to regenerate something with someone, they got to meet you halfway. If they're just saying, stop, I'm not interested, the more you push, the more you push them away. Does that make sense? So I do have some stories to share today. We're 15 minutes in. We got 10 on deck. Thanks for the likes. I really appreciate everyone out there. It's been a little while since the last live stream. If you do have a story that you do want to share, please send it in. You can send it in right now and I'll check my email. So let's get into it because I know you guys like your stories here. Let's get into it, folks. And please, if you have a comment on the side here that you want me to get to in a moment, I will be checking them regularly, and I reply to every comment in the live stream. So let's see where we are right now. 10 on deck. Oh, Johnny, she likes random massages and just making her feel special, I guess. She says that she's done having this conversation and will just keep all her feelings about our relationship to herself. Well, that's her being a victim and making you the bad guy. When you deal with individuals like this, it's not fun. It's guilt-ridden. And guilt is one of the most ridiculously horrible things to carry as a human being in any relationship, work, family, friends, religion, whatever. And so to use that against you, the idea that someone gives you a massage should be something you want to do, not something that's pushed upon you, and it should be appreciated. If you don't like giving massages, then don't give them. I've had girlfriends before that like to give a massage and like to get a massage. There's a difference, right? Some people go, I don't want you to give me one, but I'll give you one. This idea that she likes random massages or that she wants you to offer one instead of her asking for one. These are the kind of things that can exhaust you, oh, Johnny. And at some point, if I remember correctly, when we had our live coaching session, this individual works on you by making you feel guilty about not doing what she wants. And the reality is when someone tries to make you feel guilty about something they wanted, the ironic thing is it's selfish. And what they're trying to do is make you be the selfish one. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got to check that. And people don't even think they're doing it because they've validated it with so many different, well, this is, if you did this for me and you did this for me and you did this for me, I don't like giving, but if she asks, I'll give it, but I don't randomly offer. You know what? I would say if it's not, you're not into it, then maybe this isn't the, person for you because that's something they ask for randomly and a lot. I would venture to say you probably don't give a very good massage if you're not really into it. Okay. So I got a story if you're ready. Hello, coach. Let me just timestamp this for this individual. We're at 19 minutes approximately. 19 minutes. Hello, coach. I found this address in YouTube video. Thanks in advance for helping. My story is this. I study in a country that is not my country of birth. So there I met a guy who is also from a different country who came to this country to study. We were studying the same faculty, but he was 1 year before me. He is Muslim. I am Catholic. That's probably going to be a problem for your families, but you could possibly move through it. So he asked me out first. I rejected him probably because of religion. And also I just came from another relationship. So I wasn't ready for another one. I forgot that was back in 2015. After that, the Guy left studies, went to other countries, and after 3 years in 2018, he came back to study. I was still in this country. So we started meeting in common places in end of 2019, and he invited me for coffee and asked me out again. So what happened? In my head, I don't know. I didn't think a lot. I was like, this is fate. Since I'm religious, I was like, this is God's. Well, since he is coming for a second time and finding me single, so I accepted. I went into a relationship with him. Okay, bottom line is, if you're an adult, you're interested, you have a choice. But as you can see up there, we are from different countries and different religions. We are both so serious with our religions. Here's the thing. You know that in the front. When you started going out, when you first met him and he asked to go out with you, you knew this up front. It's not a surprise. So you need to accept it, deal with it, and adapt to it. And if you don't like it at any given moment, you can be upfront and honest and tell this individual, you know what? I don't think this is going to work because of our cultures. I don't think this is going to work because of our religions. But I don't think it's one of those things that you could just discount immediately without trying it. So after a few weeks, my eyes opened. I started thinking that I was too fast in this and that it will be hard for me. So I don't know what he told me, but I told him that I need to think about it and make a decision. I took a few months. I prayed. We tried to convert each other, discussing about religion. You tried to convert each other, but it didn't work. Okay, that right there could be the beginning of the end. Religion's a strong thing, and if both of you believe in your religion strongly, the idea that someone needs to sacrifice their religion or give in to the others without wanting to would just create massive resentment in the relationship down the road. Now we are both scared of talking about these differences. I have to say that the guy was treating me as a queen. Well, that's a plus. We got along so well, but sometimes he will tell me once I marry him, I have to change this. And until at some level, I felt like I won't be me anymore. I will totally be someone else. Well, that's a bad thing, right? He will tell me about the way to do things in his country and his religions, and it will push me away. Well, beyond religion, beyond getting married, relationships take work. And the fact that you already feel this way right now, be done. Okay. The idea that you already feel this negative about the future, be done. So he started telling me in his religion, he is not allowed to date or to have intimacy. So he told me he should go to, I don't know the name of this place, and get married. And since I kept telling him I want a big wedding, he was like, your big wedding will come later. I don't believe that. But I never agreed with it, not because I didn't love him. I was so happy with him. He was once a person I would look at and be proud of having him as a partner. And I could feel it was mutual. That's very important, to be proud of who you're with. So as the time went on, every time I think of meeting him, because he told me he will most probably live in his country. So when I think about what I would be so scared if I'm sleeping, I will immediately feel like I had a nightmare. I could think of going to another country with a man from a different religion. Plus, I get terrified thinking that maybe his family will not like me. You got way too many things that you're terrified, upset, and uncertain about and uncomfortable with to move forward with this individual. Don't you agree? I was so scared to talk about this relationship to my family. I would only say to my classmates who know him, and I wasn't comfortable with this. So finally, yesterday, I brought up the topic we discussed, and he told me I am the one feeling threatened. I should give the last work whether I accept it or not. So yeah, he's right. Either accept it or you don't, and I think you don't accept it. So, but that he loves me and that he would marry me if it was in his power, but also that he can't force me. So I didn't give the answer yet, since I told him he didn't talk to me and I didn't either. What's your advice? Move on, move forward, and do not get married. I think that one's pretty simple, actually. Relationships are hard enough long-term. Marriage is hard enough long-term. If you guys do not agree on religion from the get-go, I don't think it's a good way to go. I moved into rental 2,000 meters up the road after I sold our house. She walks with her friend every other day past my house with her friend who lives opposite, and that normal. I'm still friends with this woman and her husband. Okay. And then if I do it, give it half-ass, so to speak. Dude, if you don't want to, oh, Johnny, if you don't like giving massages, whether it's your wife or a girlfriend or a woman that you're seeing, then you're probably not going to do a good job of it. Having a girlfriend complain that you don't give enough massages or it's not good enough would be extremely annoying. I had a situation years back where I had a girlfriend that liked to take pictures. It wasn't like a selfie thing. Okay. It wasn't like it was like, you'd be at the beach or something like, hey, take my picture or something. It's like it's not out of character now. It's kind of annoying because I'm not a big picture taker, hence the reason why I just started an Instagram account, which I'm doing honestly for the channel and for my uh coaching because people like to see pictures from Thailand and things like this. And honestly, I have someone helping me with that. I just don't enjoy taking pictures that much. Okay. It's not a passion of mine. And so if someone asked me to take a picture, Scotty Fitzgerald, good morning. Someone asked me to take a picture. I just take a fucking picture. I don't sit there and look at the light or get on my fucking knees and try to get an angle. I just take a picture because it's not a big deal to me. So this particular girl, it would be like, oh, you take crappy pictures and da da da. You take like wouldn't even use the word crappy. I don't know why I use that word, but would complain, but then ask me to take pictures all the time. And it got to a point where I was just like, fuck. I don't care that much about taking pictures, but I'm also not gonna go above and beyond who I am and what I'm about to somehow become a fucking junior photographer overnight or ruin my day at the beach or my time out trying to get 15 different angles of catching your hair in the sun. And so it was a contributing reason to breaking up, not one of the biggest ones, but they used to bother the hell out of me. In this particular case here, it's like, you're working or it's not your pleasure to give a fucking massage. I don't mind giving my girlfriend a massage. I want to do it when I want to do it. I don't want to be called out, hey, you don't give enough massages. Hey, you don't do it right. That just discourages an individual from doing something for you. So where are you going with this, John Better? This question about the friend. I'm still friends with this woman and her husband. Good morning. What's up, Jasper J, Hawaii's finest? Howdy Mac. Hope you're good. I'm always good. Thanks for asking, G Money. I appreciate you, bud. She says I get very defensive and I can't take criticism. I bet that's the same. I bet she's talking about herself. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, Johnny. People project those kinds of comments because that's who they are. Don't give enough massages. I've never had that brought up before. Maybe try a tantric massage. I need to date a female bodybuilder or something so I can actually get a deep massage. I get about 2 massages a week here in Thailand. Love a good massage. When I go back home and I see the prices of massages, it just blows me away. Today I sent her a nice long text saying, I don't know what I'm doing wrong and how I think I'm doing my best. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I told her that her job is make her upset, and there's a lot misplaced energy towards this relationship. That's a tough place to be in, oh Johnny, because there's a lot of males out there that get to a point where a woman complains so much about such petty things that a guy gets to a point and he's like, when do I win? When do I get a compliment? When do I get a little treat at the end of the day? And if you're in that situation, you got to get yourself up off the mat and go, you know what? I'm a catch. I can meet another woman that appreciates who I am and what I do and not expect massages. And then when I give a massage, critique it to a point where I don't want to give one again. I've never known a girl that can massage properly. Their hands are too dainty and weak. Oh, I've had some for sure. The girls I've known have done in that direction with their typically are the trajectory of decreased attraction level. It's very important how you respond to those. You can't let those words give the optic that they affect you. You must choose the concept of irreverence if you are to rebuild it. What's up, Mary? God, those are a lot of big words, Rob, but I know what you mean. Basically, be indifferent. Just thought it was strange. X keeps walking past my house every other day. John, you live up the street. So if you live up the street and it's in the route that someone walks their dog. And obviously it doesn't really bother that you heard that you live down the street. Why did you get a place right down the street would be the question. What are we talking about? Originally, we were talking about what are the chances of getting an ex back. I actually haven't unpacked this topic yet. If everything went right, will my ex come back to me? A lot of times I ask people this question at the end of a coaching session. If everything went right, how would it look? Would they be coming back to you crying at the door? Would they be returning money to you? But if everything went, if I do everything right, will my ex come back to me? No. Because what you believe to be doing right doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. So the right thing to do is always in a breakup, get really clear on what happened and why. And if you're confused about something, talk to a breakup coach like myself or someone else. Just talked to someone earlier and he was just confused. Wasn't a bad guy, didn't do a whole lot wrong. It just needed to unpack everything, take it all out of the breakup suitcase and figure out what he wanted to keep and what he wanted to let go of. And you got to get that part clear first. If my ex said that I wasn't invested in the relationship like she was, would it be a great idea to show up to her place with her favorite flowers and propose solutions to what went wrong? We broke up 1 month ago. My first reaction to that, JF, no. But I would need to know your whole story. So to give you more feedback, I mean, it's not the movie. So flowers and solutions sometimes are too much, too fast, too quick. Women do like a challenge. You need to make an appointment with a professional like me. Right on, Mary. I can give good massages. Good, huh? I was just about to that's a really nice skill to have, actually. I had a client 2 or 3 months ago and he had trouble making a first move or getting to that point where like I don't want to hang out anymore. I want to get intimate. And I actually said you should look into maybe a video or a training on how to give him a good massage. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, because if you're uncomfortable with just making a move or being aggressive, that's a nice intermediate place where you're like, hey, hun, you feel a little, tension or this or that, and you have human touch. And he tried it and it worked quite well. The book The Game by Neil Strauss and The Truth, one of those books, he talks about massage being one of his go-to things to get intimate. Agree, Rob. If you're fighting with a woman often or she is nagging you all the time, she doesn't view you as the one. You don't start drama with someone you're attracted to. Yeah, that's a good point. Or like I said, you don't want to be backpedaling on things like the picture thing. This used to irritate the fuck out of me because I'll take your picture. I'll take 5 pictures. Don't ask me to be a photographer. Don't ask me to care about the light or how great the picture is. And then every time you ask me, you complain. Really, really used to upset me. Fair point. My son wanted me to rent this house, lives a couple of kilometers away. Okay. I mean, if it brings you a lot of pain to see your ex-wife walk past your house every day, then you have to revisit the idea that maybe you can move to a different neighborhood or a different place. One thing I highly recommend, and this can be applied to anyone, John, highly, highly recommend this in a breakup. This is actually a great piece of advice. And I realize that you have kids and you're putting your kids first, and that's admirable and that's noble. And I commend you for it. I applaud you for it, John. But when you're coming out of a breakup, especially you sold a house, so dare I say you have a little bit of money. I don't know how much, but you have a little bit of money that maybe you couldn't buy another house, but you have money enough to go rent something decent to good. And I could be wrong on that. The best, and the funny thing is, one client of mine that was in Melbourne, which is very expensive, if I'm correct, they were selling a house, and she was really upset because she really loved this house. And I said, hey, look, hon, you're going to have to sell the house. That's part of the deal. You know that already. I said, but this is what you want to do. You have a little bit of money. You have a good job. She said, yeah. She's like, but I really like this house and I won't have the ability to buy another house like this. Dot, 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 dot. I said, look, what would be the coolest, most exciting place to live in Melbourne? I mean, if I was, and she was in her late 20s, and I was like, is there a downtown area where you could walk to coffee shops? You can go down to the bay or the beach. And I don't even know if Melbourne has a bay or a beach. That's how much I know about Melbourne. I said, as a treat to you out of the breakup, move to an environment that you're excited about living in. She never thought of it. And I said, and they had a roommate already that had rented a room. I said, you're comfortable with having roommates? Move in with some single friends or colleagues or people you don't know from downtown, but you interview first, and get a really cool place. 2 weeks later, she did it, and she was excited about it. She's like, yeah, I'm going to live in downtown Melbourne. I'm going to be able to walk to shops. I already got a colleague from work that's going to be a roommate. Does it cure you? No. Does it help in you getting through your breakup? Hell yes. Your environment triggers different things all the time. And so I don't think, John, it would sacrifice too much in your relationship with your sons if you moved a little bit further from that house and didn't have to see the house or her walking by your house every day with her friend, and move somewhere that really excites you and really interests you. When I was about 19, 20 years old, I moved down to San Diego, California. I was from the Bay Area, and I was going to live with some friends that were in college down there. One of my friends was a good friend. The other friends I was cool with, but they had 2 pit bulls. They had a drinking and drug problem, and I could just smell smoke immediately, no pun intended. And I thought to myself, this is not going to be fucking good. And my buddy was like, look, I already told them I'd get a place with them. So I bailed on the situation. I increased what I spent on rent by double. I was hoping to spend like $400 or $500 a month get a room, and listening to my gut, this is one of the best moves I ever made. I went, you know what? I don't even want to live where they want to live. I want to live by the beach. I moved about 7 blocks up from the beach in a studio apartment that was next door to the KFC drive-through. But damn it, I was fucking excited about the palm trees in front and the fact that I could ride a bicycle down to the fucking beach. And I never regretted that situation. I love that apartment, and I love the area. And John, if you live wherever you're around Melbourne or that area, I don't know Melbourne very well at all. I'm just saying, move somewhere where you'd still be in proximity to your kids, but it's a neighborhood with a lifestyle you like. Now think about that for a minute. This girl that was, like I said, she was late 20s. She moved downtown. Like I said, I think Melbourne's got some really cool restaurants, coffee shops, waterfront, what have you, right? So she's probably paying a little bit more or a lot more, but she had money out of the sale of her house. She got a roommate. Move somewhere that you're excited, and do not be in the proximity where your wife can walk by. You're being a victim if you go, wow, she's just walking by my house every day. No, then you should move. That's where your power is. It's not necessarily just the massages. It's like she says, I'm not tentative. I work, come home, try to give her my undivided attention. And I don't know. She says she doesn't feel me emotionally. Well, then be done, Johnny. This has been going on for fucking way too long, dude. It's like she's mad that she has to remind me or ask me to do stuff for her romance. You're not a child, dude. And it feels like she wants me to be all around sharp, perfect with her. And I'm like, goddamn. Like I said, you're the bad guy. You don't do anything right. You know, she wants this, she wants that. Everything's catering to her. Why are you with her still? Sorry, dude. This has been going on for months. I thought you were moving out. What's your real reason for staying with her? Short answer, Johnny. Drop it. What's your real answer for staying with her? Because it's not. You're right. Good advice, Mac. I have to go to work. Speak soon. Thanks again. Nice to talk to you, legend. Right on, Johnny. I hope you're well, bud. All right, I got another story here. Let's see where we're at in the thing. 39-minute mark. You ready for another story, folks? Hi, Mac. I am 31 years old and 31-year-old woman who dated a 32-year-old man. Both of us were born in 88 for 3.5 months. So that's a very short relationship. We were an hour away from each other, and he was a guy working offshore for weeks. Well, if you knew that up front, you knew what you were dealing with, but that can be an obstacle in a relationship, right? Whenever he got time, he drove to pick me up to spend the weekends with him. I didn't drive to him since I didn't have a car at the time. That seems like not an excuse, but a reality, right? I'm sure you don't want to take the Greyhound these days. He actually wanted something serious with me, then a hookup. He told me so. I felt that too. Well, good for you. But I was a bit skeptical in the beginning. Didn't do much pursuing or being needy towards him. Okay. However, due to our cultural differences, he is white and I am Asian. Okay. Those are broad differences. I kind of had a discouraging view on our relationship. Why would that be? Because you normally only date Asian men. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, the idea that you have a preference of a certain culture that matches up with your values or morals is just fine. That being said, certain cultures and different things like that can surprise you, right? For the rest of the time when we had a talk, for the first time when we had a talk on breaking up, he didn't want to break up. He wanted to keep seeing me. Do you even consider yourself in a real relationship, or is this something where you're seeing each other? Because to me, I always look at when someone's seeing each other or couples are seeing each other, you're not official. So I would just want to clarify that at some point. Then after a couple of weeks after that, I felt he was acting distant. Now I feel like he was just busy with work. Probably the fact that you live an hour away. I mean, people are going to be distant at times, right? So I asked for a break. Initially, he was questioning me the reasons for the break, like distance and him being too busy. Those would be probably two of the real reasons. And then I said, I will talk to him in the evening. In the evening, he took a 180-degree turn and went ahead and broke up with me. Well, here's the thing. When an individual brings up breaking up, they are putting the other person in their frame. They're taking control of a situation. They're saying, actually, I'm going to do this to us and you, and you're going to have to eat it. And the fact that you threw this out there and then he went, you know what? Yeah, let's just go all in. Because you know what? I'm the same way. I don't believe in being in a relationship and taking a quote unquote break. If you're broken up, you're broken up. If you're seeing each other after you broke up, that's fine. That's a new relationship that you're working towards. That's not you took a break. This gets a gray area, and it's one of those things where you basically want your cake and eat it too, or you're using it as a way to get someone's attention, which I think is what you did here. I was trying to fix it by telling I could drive to him whenever. So now you overcompensated because you didn't. So this tells me that by issuing the idea of having a break, you wanted to get his attention. And you got it, and he said, wow, I'm not going to deal with this kind of negotiation. I applaud the guy, to be quite honest. I was trying to fix it by telling I could drive to him whenever I can spend time with him, but he said he wants someone who lives closer to him. Fair play. So I agreed and said goodbye. Good for you. Then after one day, since I couldn't take it anymore, I contacted him again, telling it's hard for me to move on. To be honest with you, that's your problem. And it's part of what you knew was going to happen, down the road, because you didn't want to break up. You just wanted a break, right? But he was acting cold and asked me to move on. He told me he was feeling knots in his stomach all day at work as well due to the breakup. He told me he was feeling lonely during our time together, despite him being attracted to my looks and personality. He also mentioned him not being over his ex for 2 years. So now we got way too many things involved. This is not a good way to start a relationship. It should be rose petals and wine glasses in 3.5 months. I think the breakup was like a year and months ago, and not knowing on what to do about it. Finally, he said it was a mistake and he apologized to me. I said, okay, and emphasized with his situation, telling him I had a similar relationship in the past. After that, I said goodbye and didn't contact him. It's been more than a month now. Do you think there's still a chance to get back with him? Sure, there's a chance, but you'd have to eliminate the distance. This is a shallow relationship at 3.5 months, and so there's not a lot of wreckage or problems. Um, so yeah, if so, how I wouldn't have a problem with you reaching out to him after a month now because it was only 3.5 months, and seeing where things are. This wouldn't mean you're going to get back together. It would probably be that you'd set up some sort of rendezvous or a weekend where you got together and get to know each other again and start over. After 1 month now, I feel like I deserve someone better. If you think you deserve someone better, do not go back to this individual, because you'll just find ways to be resentful and bitter. And the minute you have a problem or a disagreement, you're going to go back to the idea that you deserve something better. Still, a part of me wants to restore the short and sweet relationship we had. Well, you got to make a choice here. If you feel like you deserve someone better, then don't go back. JF. I keep wanting to say JFK. She said she didn't feel those sparks anymore, but I know she's very into sappy romantic things, like me going out of my way for a gesture. JF, I need to know your story, bud, and I'll give you my full take. My short take is, if you go and do something like this, it's going to be an overcompensation. She could be nice for a moment, but I don't know what you're trying to overcome, and I don't know why there wasn't sparks there. So I'd be just throwing darts in the fucking wind by giving you advice on this without knowing more to the situation. My short answer, sappy romantic things are movie-like and Hollywood-like, and it's not reality. If she said the sparks aren't there, you show up to the door with, flowers. It's almost like you saying, like, I didn't get the memo that the sparks weren't there anymore, but maybe these flowers will work. And it could be a real turnoff for her. Spark is gone, makes me throw up in my mouth. My buddy just had his ex say the same thing. It fucking happens. A lot of times, people just don't have the same strong feelings. And a lot of times it's from a repetitive, mediocre schedule, or there's just a lack of excitement. People have grooved into certain roles in the relationship that have become boring. And the idea that you're going to show up at her door with flowers and change that, I don't see that happening. And you're basically going to bring yourself back to ground zero or worse. Like I said, that being said, if you want to share more of your story or do a live coaching session, maybe I'd have a different answer based on the fact that I know more details. How do you keep the spark alive? It's different for different people. So again, this isn't an answer to a question that can be. I would need to know who the kind of person you were dealing with, what's a big problem for a lot of people. They don't listen. Someone gives you hints before they break up. If you're in a good relationship, a lot of times they're giving you hints. I had a friend that I actually did a coaching with. That's right. He's a good friend of mine. And he was like, look, I want to talk about a relationship and all this. And this is what's hard when it's your friend, because I'm on his side. We've been friends for 25 years. And it's hard to be objective and non-biased. And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, she wants to go on hikes and do these. I don't fucking go do those things. And I was kind of like, why? Throughout the relationship, he's a huge sports fan. He follows these sports. She goes to games with him. It's always about what he likes to do. And different folks, different strokes for different folks, if you will. And so what sparks something for one individual will spark something for another individual. But I would say one of the biggest things is people getting involved in a groove and a predictable schedule of, at 7 p.m., I come home, we watch Netflix. At 8 p.m., we eat dinner. At 10 p.m., we go to sleep. Sometimes on the weekends, we go to the park. Yeah, we share a dog. Like, there's nothing exciting there. And so hence the reason why do people have affairs and have incredibly good intimacy during the affairs? Because it's exciting to them. They're meeting at a location with the intention of having sex and having fun. What is it that creates a stale situation in a long-term relationship? It's the repetitive, predictable, mediocre, accepted boringness of the relationship. It's like, think about it like this. I haven't been in relationships where I've gotten in a lot of fights and that was like a playbook in our relationship, but I do know that individuals that fight a lot tend to have really good intimacy. Why is that? Not all, but a lot. Because the high and low of the emotions, it's like there's been people many times before. They're like, "Oh, we never fought. We got along so good, this and that." And then you're like, "But we had sex once every 3 months," or um, it, sparks are lost through repetitive mediocrity in the relationship, and uh, to be honest with you, a comfort within that. And that has a lot to do with someone, their job, their hobbies, the way they spend their free time. I thought we were working it out and we were okay for a little bit, but I don't know. This is not giving what she wants thing is confusing because she says she breaks it down exactly she wants to me, but I do it my way. Well, it sounds like you're gonna have to agree to disagree. I tend to overcompensate with her with other things and not give her things she needs. Is she being good to you, Johnny? Are you happy with what she does for you? Are you happy with her as a partner to you? That's annoying to me. I tend to overcompensate with other things. Salma with the $1 million question. What do you overcompensate? Do not get complacent. I mean, sometimes the thing that's going to spark stuff for your partner and the things that's going to spark for you probably don't add up. And so that could be a big thing. I found it really interesting. One time I was listening to a podcast with Tim Ferriss. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was some kind of bodybuilder, weight builder, uh, like a personal trainer or something. But the guy was a great interview, really interesting dude, really smart, intellectual. And someone asked, I think someone asked, how do you get your sex drive up? And he said, change partners. Like dead serious. There is a study out there. I forgot what it's called. Andrew Huberman, who's become suddenly extremely popular because he's a Stanford professor. He was just on Joe Rogan, but he's been on a few other interview shows. These are things I like to watch. He's a neuroscientist. But I've talked about this recently before. I forgot what it's called. But basically, they had a rooster or a cock that they said impregnated 200 roosters in a month. And I think it was Coolidge. President asked about this rooster, and he said, "Oh, is it the same? Is it a different rooster every time?" Yes. So a lot of times, the way I look at long-term relationships, and stay with me on this, and this is why I've mentioned maybe writing the book, The 4-Year Sex Contract, as an alternative to marriage. I believe in marriage. I think it works. I believe in the family. I believe that it can work and it does work. I think it's, extremely challenging at times to keep the spice alive and whatnot. But what you are doing is you're doing something that I would call it's almost like a love pension. So if you meet people, and my father was one of them, that took a job that he didn't really love, or I would say over the years, after a while. He liked it in the beginning, but later on he didn't. He was a truck driver. But what did he do that job for? Because he liked driving a truck? No, that got pretty old and stale. He said in the beginning it was kind of cool and stuff like that, but it got really repetitive. It was driving a truck and delivering food for the most part to far places. So why'd he stay? Because he had medical, because he had a pension. And then the pension was a finish line because you'll get this much money every month. Okay. When you're in a marriage, a lot of times, or a long-term relationship, it's more like a pension. You're securing yourself a partner for when you get old, or you're securing yourself a partner for the really bad times, to be there and to always be there. Now, in that process of my dad working there 30 years, there wasn't a whole lot of things that excited him about that job. Now, if you're in a 30 or 40-year marriage, I think what happens is the lack of excitement goes to the side, and the idea of, owning a house and having kids and all these things, and the relationship gets put to the side. So the question pops up again: how do you create new sparks? The sparks are hard to reunite if they've been gone for so long, and I'll tell you why. I just told someone this in an email. If your partner's developed a typecast for you, think about this for a minute. Robert De Niro does gangster films, or even in Meeting the Parents, or one of these comedy ones, he always plays a tough guy or a hard guy, right? He's never gonna play a a gay intellectual, or a I know he's played other roles, but you know what I mean, okay? He's always this certain typecasted person, right? Your partner at a certain level gets so used to who you are that if you do something out of character, it makes them uncomfortable, and it makes them kind of put you down. So if let's say that you went out of your way and you said your girlfriend really loves snow skiing, when you've never really been a skier. And you're like, you know what? I planned this trip to Lake Tahoe and I got all these things. And she's like, you don't ski. And he's like, well, yeah, but I planned the trip and I'm going to get lessons and I'm going to do my best. I'm really going to make an effort. And she's like, well, you don't even ski. Why would you set up that trip? That's when a relationship's at a point where someone's so far gone from regaining sparks that anything they try, the other person's got resentment because they've stayed with you and accepted the mediocrity and the boringness, that now that you make an effort, it combats the idea of who they believe you to be. Does that make sense? It's a little deep to the question, but I think I got to the bottom of it. What do you think of that answer, Salma? Mary says, I guess randomly surprise them with sexual favors. That works. Good one, Mary. Stay in shape and sexy and constantly seduce your partner. Never think you have them locked down. That's a good one, G Money. Mary, that certainly helps. I guess what I did with that long answer is say that the longer you go without seducing them or creating sparks, the harder it is to start up again. It's kind of like, if you haven't exercised in a long time and you haven't exercised in 5 years, you're massively overweight. It's really hard to start again. I know that feeling as well. Hold them down that way. What's funny about that, Mary, is that I've talked to women before in live coaching sessions that are dealing with being single and in their 40s, in their 50s, and sometimes they have this comment. Wow, one of my friends, she always gets a new guy. She always has a new guy, and I'm like, well, does she put out? And she's like, I'm like, I mean, does she have a massive barrier up about hooking up with guys? Does she, because that's probably why, is that she's not scared to get intimate with a guy that she's dating, and she's probably good. The ones that fight have good intimacy, yet most eventually end in disaster. That could be true. Mary Heen, the feeling of one overcompensating. I know that feeling too then. Her anxiety plus her issues with me has made me not want her to give it, has made not want her to give it up too. Well, that's a major issue. If someone's holding intimacy as a treat or a way of punishing you, get out of that relationship, Johnny. There's just too many fish in the sea, and it's just not a proper way to go about things. Went on a date with my ex after 2 years of no contact about a month ago. How did that go, Floyderius Purdue? Floyderius. Can I call you Floyd? It's a feeling I was aware of at a younger age. I know better now. I don't even know what that's in regard to. Sparks are hard to reignite. However, a guy needs to know the path towards reattraction. It won't happen overnight. It's a progressive method. Most men will fail at this. I think what you have to realize too, Rob, is that if you are attempting to re-spark something and it doesn't work, you have to have the ability to go, you know what? This isn't going to work. Not appreciative. I personally think that she's home all the time since her surgery and the pandemic, so she works from home, and I get to leave the house because it's essential. She just sits there and thinks too much. I think you're correct. It's essentially how someone goes mad. What's the worst punishment you can give to someone? Jail? What is jail? Solitary confinement away from socialization with other human beings. Some people are not going to be satisfied with anything. Okay, so I did tell this person I would. Here's a comment. Hi, coach. I'm in a similar position. I appreciate your channel. Could I please ask for your advice? I dated a guy for 4 months. He had great qualities and a kind spirit, but 3 months in, he has this explosive anger, verbally abusive outbursts. He then expressed. So here's the thing. You dated a guy for 4 months. He had great qualities and a kind spirit. 3 months in, he had explosive anger. 3 months in, you still don't know the person. Okay. Verbally abusive outbursts. He then expressed he had a bipolar. I tried my best to be patient and understanding. If you've never been with someone bipolar before, I haven't. Do you want to deal with that? Are you equipped to deal with that? Good question. I'm a child therapist and have a lot of love for individuals. I met his family. He spoke about marriage, but it got to a point where I couldn't take the disrespect. I broke up with him. We worked together, and 1 month later, he's back dating with his ex-girlfriend, who I now have to see daily in the office. Why would you have to see her in the office every day? Is there any way you can change offices, change schedules? He told me previously never loved her, and now he informed me how he very much does. Bottom line is this guy doesn't owe you anything. He's told you who he is through his actions. 4 months is a sample size. Be thankful you didn't go into a long-term relationship. Obviously, who you believed he was isn't who he is. And so you need to move on and move forward. What I would add is the fact that you've been together 4 months. If you go no contact, if you're able to change offices or do something to deal with that in a better way, that's fine. That being said, be thankful that you've realized who this person was this early and you can abort the relationship. I can't help but feel all he ever said and did was a lie. If that's true, then be glad you're done. Am I entitled to feel hurt, or am I just being selfish? Of course you're entitled to be hurt. Absolutely. Absolutely about to be hurt. That being said, at some point you got to be done. Okay, this person's told me they're a liar. They hurt me. I believe them. I was there for them. But do I want to be with a verbally abusive person that's bipolar? Do I want to be with someone that as soon as we break up goes back to their ex-girlfriend who they said they weren't into? At some point, I would be thankful that you have disentangled yourself from an individual like this. Tell me I'm wrong on that. I don't find it selfish, but at some point you have to let go of this relationship being duped. A lot of times people get pissed off that someone duped them in some way or tricked them into believing they were something different. And the reality is once you believe that once you found them out to be who they are, now the ball is in your court to just move forward. Sex in my 40s way better than my 20s. Good for you, Lala. Confidence in being able to ask for what I want. I think that is outstanding. What's that mean, little bird? Get out. You're talking about Johnny, I think. She did say she will do some introspection because of the text I sent her today. She can tell I'm frustrated with her. I think you definitely need to move out of the apartment. Johnny, that would be your first step. And that's something we talked about before. Things aren't changing. Give yourself credit. We have done a live coaching. Johnny, you're a good dude. You're good people, and you're actually pretty fucking smart. And I think in a lot of ways, she's manipulating you. But what you've unpacked right here, look back and what you wrote, dude. You're right. Sitting around, like a lot of times when I talk to people, I do ask about their job, not because I care about what money you make, but the satisfaction that you have with your job. Are you proud and privileged of what you do? Number two, do you have camaraderie at work? And then the financial part counts because that's how people get measured in a lot of cultures and society, and it will affect your life. If someone's sitting at home and they're not happy with their job, they're for sure going to not be happy in their relationship, and they're going to create situations to make you feel bad. Remember, people always want you to feel like they feel, right? It's like, why would someone come to me for a live coaching session if I was negative and ranting all the time and bitchy, or if I said I fucking hate all women? Then I would attract guys that hated women and had bad relationships, and they would come to me, and all they'd want to do is circle around the fact, like, yeah, all women suck and all women are this or all women are that. Yeah, man. It's like, my approach is this. Let's unpack what happened in your situation and see what you want to keep and what you want to let go of, and what you can reframe in a way that serves you. I don't want you to come away from a breakup where it affects the rest of your fucking life. It should be catapulting you into a new you. How come men expect women to stay in shape and sexy? Does that mean you haven't stayed in shape, Mary? Well, if a man got sloppy and a turn off to me, I don't care how much money he makes. If he gets sloppy, I'm saying something. Don't say I'm nagging. That's a good question. So what I would answer that, good one, Mary. Here's what's really interesting. Tell me I'm wrong about this. Is it often, and it depends on where you live in the world, right? Because what's really interesting about me living in different country and different subcultures of the world, like growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area and then living in San Diego, was like two different cultures. Living in Thailand, in Phuket, and living in San Francisco or San Diego, and even living in San Francisco from my hometown city was different. All these areas have different styles, different things. Okay. That being said, when you do see couples, especially when you see couples in their late 20s all the way up, if someone's in really good shape, they're usually with someone that's in good to decent shape. If someone's really in bad shape, they're usually with someone that's in bad shape. There's usually not an awkward where someone's, massively obese with someone that goes to the gym 6 days a week, right? If that's the case, there's something else there. But usually those relationships don't work. So, Mary, how come men expect women to stay in shape and sexy? I think men expect that if they expect that of themselves. Now, if they expect that and don't expect that of themselves, they're going to end up with a lot of relationships with their woman being very resentful. But I do think it's important, and I've had this in a relationship before, if your partner is getting to a point where they're quote unquote letting themselves go, and this could be from drinking too much or overeating, whatever you want to have it, and you have a problem with it, I don't think it's out of line to say, hey, hon, you're gaining a lot of weight. Now, someone might be like, oh, that's so shallow, that's fucked up. Well, if someone had an ailment or a surgery or something like that, then you need to be understanding. If someone's developing really bad habits that over time, if they let this go for another 2 or 3 years, are going to end up being a blimp, then you need to get out in front of it and tell your partner exactly how you feel. And if your partner goes, oh my God, I can't believe you care so much about that, it's like, hey, I'm just being honest with you. You don't have to be a supermodel, but I would appreciate that if you stayed your playing weight or within 10 pounds of that, because I don't want this to get out of hand 2 or 3 years down the road. That's someone being honest and upfront. She really don't want to believe her hating her job is affecting this relationship. Hating a job affects anyone's relationship, 100%. She's off weekends, and on Saturday morning, she's dreading going back on Monday. Yeah, well, then that's not your problem. It's her problem. And here's the crazy thing, Johnny. This is going to be really good advice for you, bro. Until you're enabling her to have a shitty job, and then she can take out her frustrations on you when you don't fucking give her a massage or these kinds of things. The reality is, if you broke up with her, you went all in, you went no contact, and it would be hard on you, Johnny, because you do care about this woman and she is a long-term girlfriend for you. That being said, that would be the time for her to take a aerial view of her life and go, wait a minute. This guy broke up with me, and I hate my job also. I want to work on my job. I want to work on my relationship. If she's going to make a change, it would be from a breakup. I broke up with my ex last May and reached out last Saturday and asked, and he reached out last Saturday and asked me if I were talking to anyone else and if I were still interested in him. What does it mean? Sounds like he's interested in you. It means that he's pivoting back toward trying to reconnect with you. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for that one. If you were still interested in him, is a very weak line that gives you all the power right there. I agree with Rob, but it's up to you how you feel about that. He rebounded with his ex, though, and I have a reason to believe he is still with her. I'm not interested if the ex is in the picture, and I'm not interested in being his backup plan. So you've let us know what you're not interested in. What are you interested in? What would be the best case scenario for, is it RV? Janina TY. What nationality is that? What an interesting name. RV Janina Ty. Rebounds rarely work. Seems like he's keeping his options open in case he wants to slide back in. Bottom line, do you like the guy? Were you highly into him? Are you interested in him beyond? I think it's lame the way he reached out, but he's being very upfront. He's interested in getting back together. Do you want to get back with him? When does dismissive avoidance come back? How long does it take them to return after no contact? Anybody help me answer this? Yeah, I don't do the avoidance thing. I would rather know what's the story of your breakup, but there are other people on my live stream that sign up for the avoidant attachment theories. I don't have a problem with them. I just don't like labeling people under these umbrellas and then somehow because someone's a dismissive avoidant, there's some kind of recipe to deal with them. That's just something I don't agree with. But if someone finds it different, that's all the more power to you. Creative name. What is a creative name? Feel free to send in your full story to writemac.com and I'll give you my take. The idea that someone's a dismissive avoidant and there's some kind of one size fits all for them, I wouldn't have the answer for that because I don't agree. Tell him that you will give all the power in that. Or maybe he's having problems with her. Tell him you're seeing someone. Good point of view. Check it out but be aware. Little Bird. Sex in my 40s, way better. Honey, wait till you hit 50. Good for you, Little Bird. What's up, Jen? How you doing, hon? Hope you're doing better this week. Well, they come back when other options fail. Yeah, it depends on how needy they are. What's a bunch of bull from Rob? Tell him that then. That will give you all the power in the situation. Can be days, might be months, possibly years. Hard to predict, yet the needy type tend to attempt their way back to much easier. Creative name, what is what I said? Yeah, my ex wasn't needy. I'm sure he's not coming back. The fact that they come back when there are no other options is a bunch of bull. I'm never sloppy, Mac. I know, Mary. Oh. The fact that they come back when there are no other options is a bunch of bull. Everyone's different. Like I said, creative name. I don't know if you've been on the channel before, but like I said, send your story and I'll give you my take. I need to know more details to give you a tailored response. Um, I'd be happy to do that for you. Uh, he hasn't reached out again, though. Do you think he'll reach out again? He's very okay. RV, what do you want? Do you want him back? Did you have a good relationship besides the breakup of 9 months? He's very scared of rejection. I'm scared of my response to his question may have triggered that. Do you want him back? Are you, I mean, he asked you, are you interested? Like, if someone not being happy with themselves, why put your partner through shit and change your situation? People, this is human. People want you to feel what they feel. Think about it. I mean, it's simple human logic, but it's especially deep feelings. And they wouldn't say that, right? Like, let's say someone's really sad. And people have emotions they go back to again and again, and they're very comfortable with them. They will vibe with someone else that's sad all the time. A sad person might not reject a happy person or an angry person, but they will vibe. And the thing is, when you live together, everyone's attempting to be in the same vibe, which is a frequency. I don't know if you want to get deep on this energy thing and whatnot. Maybe people don't subscribe to this so much, but think about it this way. Everyone's, I hope, has, a group of old friends from high school, from college, from when you grew up. And, maybe right now, I'm 39, I'm distant with some of those good friends. And I probably have, I think from high school, maybe 4 or 5 just off the top of my head that are really good friends. And then, during that time in high school and during college and whatnot, we've just been good friends. Now, there's a couple of those friends that when we're around each other, it's just good vibes. It's just jokes. It's fun. It's good. There's a couple of those friends. They've always been my good friend. They'll always be my good friend. We'll always be close. But you get around them and it's kind of, it's bitching, it's moaning, it's complaining. One of them has got money problems all the time. And it's not that you don't care, but it's a totally different vibe. And they will want to bring you into that bitching and moaning and complaining because it makes them comfortable. And if you combat that with, well, life's good, life's great, they'll find a way to knock you down. If I say, oh, I love living in Thailand, this, that, and the other, and the beach is beautiful, it's like, yeah, but you don't ever get to see your family. Like, they'll want to bring you down to where they're at. They don't even know they're doing it. And so when you're around people like that, it's hard to find people that are chipper and happy all the time. I'm not saying that when you're in a relationship, you're going to have moments where you are in a committed relationship. You're going to have to deal with your partner lost a loved one or your partner lost their job. And in those situations, you got to be there for them. You want to be there for them. If they are developing a character in that it is now baked into who they are to be angry easily at small things regularly, you're not going to get out of that. And they're going to find ways to get you to join. And so when you're in the middle of that right now, Johnny, you're kind of like sitting there going, you're puzzled and shit because you're not unhappy. And the reason why a job is so important, you're spending 8 hours a day in a lot of places in the world, 5 days a week. You're spending a majority of your time and you're getting something from that job beyond just money. And so when you spend time with your partner, if you're miserable 40 hours a week, how do you shed that snakeskin? Get a new job. Creative name. Can you get a creative name? I think they are gone forever. That said, just be aware that the behavior pattern he exhibits may not change and he may not stay the attachment style. Okay. Thanks for answering, coach. I'm interested in getting back together with him and I still love him, but I'm not interested if he's still with his ex. So why I'm also not sure what my next step should be. Just be fucking direct with him, RV. Be direct. Ask him directly. Hey, look, are you still with your ex and what's your intentions? And then meet up for coffee or dinner or lunch or whatever it is and get in each other's presence and have a chit chat and see where you're at again and be adults. You don't need to play games. You were together for 9 months. He's just put his neck out on the line and said, I'm interested. Your prerequisite is, are you still with your ex? Tell me the truth. If you don't trust him at this point, then you can't have a relationship. I know it's a cycle. You know a lot about attachment style. I'm impressed. Said that for men, it's a deliberating state of mind that will not allow some to move forward. It's what others would consider a normal and healthy relationship. What did I miss something? Well, I know all the attachment styles, but I also think it's best to go deeper to understand the psychology behind the behavior. I find you can get more answers and solutions that way. Okay. She needs to get out the house during the week. She works on the weekends. I try to take her out to go places. It's like during the week, the job burns her out and she wants all the love and attention. Well, it's not going to be enough, oh Johnny. That's the thing. It's one of those things. It's like filling a bucket with water and there's holes in the bucket and someone's like, get some more water, get some more water. And you're like, the fucking bucket has holes in it. So, like I said, you've been, because I've done a live coaching with you and I know your story. I know what you've been going through and whatnot. The longer you accept it, the more she'll be the same way. And the only way to show that you're fully in is probably moving out, which is something you threatened before and you got a reaction from her immediately. I don't want you to use moving out as a tactic to win a battle or argument, but at the same time, it can't like, oh, Johnny, are you going to be like this for the next 2 or 3 years? You need to tell her, look, I think your job's affecting you. I don't feel like, we're in a very healthy relationship and you should move out for a bit. I agree. I wish I read about the attachment style sooner because everything I read on it, they did textbook DA. Textbook DA, what's that mean? WriteMac.com is where you'd send your story. $25 donation if you want to go to the head of the line. If you want the story not to be read online, if you want it to be private, then it's $65 for a private video response. It's $125 for an hour live coaching session. Most of the people, well, maybe half the people on this live stream have been in a live coaching session. They can confirm I offer a full refund if you're not happy with it. Last message was meant for, okay. True enough, once your person gets the characteristic of the attachment style, then typically the behavior exhibited can allow. Here we go with the attachment styles. I told Saturdays it's not good that you're having anxiety on a Saturday. It's not good, and I'm going to help you get out of it. Today, she asked me, do I feel like we act like roommates and not lovers? Today, she asked me, well, that means she feels that way. Judy Jack, what's up? It's been a while, as the great Stain said. Okay, Jen, I'm always ready for you, hon. Rob, is that true? I was pretty freaked out when I read about it. It would have avoided a lot of issues. I'm thinking he's a combination of avoidant and anxious. Could be. Could be. It's good to be aware of all the styles just so one isn't surprised by an emotional issue that may come up. When you're aware, you have greater control. Okay. I'm not a big, like I said, I like to individually unpack people's situations. I don't like to have boundaries based on them fitting into some kind of box. But if it works for other people, Rob, I'm with you. I'm okay with it. This is just something that I like to make my own assessments based on the individuals and go from there. That being said, individuals could fit into these different boxes, right? I respect the idea of the avoidant attachment styles and whatnot. I respect people that go to that. It's not something that I particularly um, gloss over because, like I said, I really want to know your story and your situation and not somehow box it in. Certainly sounds like those words he said to you do not demonstrate that he has a solid understanding how to communicate in a way that's increasing attraction. You and I talk again. I got that. The bucket thing, I'd be tempted to tell that because she's super sensitive. Here's the thing, oh, Johnny, you're trying to convince her to see herself in a certain way. It's not going to work. You're trying to mend the wounded bird that wants to be wounded. She's super sensitive, hence why she thinks why her job is not it. What happened to the time that you were going to move out and she said she was going to actually work on herself and she said she was blaming you too much? No progress, not a peep from it's been 3 weeks today. Oh wow, Jen. Social worker. That's a lot to take on as a social worker. Steven Soistman. Hey, coach, been a while. Was in a 5-year relationship. We haven't had a contact going on 11 months. Hard to believe. Well, Steven, you're a strong individual. I haven't seen you on the channel in a long time, but I hope you're doing well otherwise. Okay. Have you reached out at all? I hope your situation works out. At least I hope you get some answers. Johnny, why don't you suggest her to go do what she's always wanted to do? Here's the thing about suggesting things to people when they're adults. When they're professionals in some arena. A lot of them don't like it. People like to come up with things on their own. And so you're almost better off throwing breadcrumbs. But at the same time, you know what really gets people? Did you hear that on my stomach? What really gets them? Ground zero, losing your job. Fuck, I lost my job. I never liked that job. Now I know that I don't want to have that same job. I mean, when I was from the age of 16, because in California it was really hard. Yet there were some people though to get a I think that's we had to have a work permit or not when I was in high school. Because I remember my final year of high school, I worked I worked over 30 hours a week. So I actually got what they call work experience credit. And so you get some kind of credit towards your degree for working so much. But anyways, since I was 16, I worked at a retail job of some sort. We always had to have a job at my house, not to quote unquote support the family, but it was just ingrained in me to have a job and have your own money to do your own things. And I was always happy to have my own job. That being said, though, I got fired a couple times. I'm not proud of that, but I was a kid. That being said, the places that I got fired from, or I was kind of, when I say fired, I was kind of told to leave. Um, I always got a better job afterwards, a job I liked better. Right now, I will say with the COVID and the economy, though, I think that people are guarded towards jobs more, and I understand that. Don't you suggest her to go do? Okay. I've not reached out, staying strong on my end, having mixed feelings about reaching out. Okay, Jen. She did a little bit, but then complaining came again. I think more because the more the job took the toll on her. Well, Johnny, I mean, you're in your early 30s. I believe you were 33, 34 years old. You've given a lot of effort here. If you're becoming in a situation where you can't win, you're a bit miserable, you're not growing, she's not growing, you're fighting over things like you don't massage me enough. What's the next step, bud? Do you think I should reach out to this time or stay no contact and wait for him to come to me? So he called you and said, "Are you still interested?" I don't remember the exact words. Can you I did work experience also. I always had a job. I remember when I was like 17 or 18, I was out of a job for like 2 or 3 weeks. I remember having like half my friends too didn't work during high school. Their parents always wanted them to concentrate on school. My dad was like, "You better get a fucking job in the next week." I feel like I keep throwing change your job in our face. Well, here's the thing, don't. Here's people, like I said, they don't want it. A lot of times people don't want advice from adults, and that, let alone people close to them. They need to find it out for themselves. Can't you find a job doing the same? Maybe work with the school system. Here's the thing. Johnny could probably come to her and go, "Oh, I know Susie Q at the New Jersey School District, and they can get you this job as a guidance counselor and da da da." But she's in such a dark place as an individual and likes being a victim. Do you understand what I'm saying, oh Johnny? That even if you did that, she'd be like, bat it away. She doesn't even know she likes being a victim. Do you find that with your advanced knowledge of how the whole relationship psychology thing works, does it somehow ease any potential heartache? That's a good question. See, the problem, Johnny, is people are giving advice for someone as a third party. You're the greatest part about my job of being a breakup coach and having this channel, the greatest privilege I have is that when someone does pay me, they want to talk to me. They weren't recommended to me. I don't get a lot of people that like, "Oh, Jen recommended me. She's a friend." It's usually people that I have 800 videos up or 900 videos. I don't know what it is. You can watch the channel. You can watch my approach. If you don't like it, that's fine. A lot of times with YouTube, you just go to another channel or you can write a bad comment or you can do a thumbs down. But people come to me. They like my approach. They're willing to pay a premium cost of money. And so when I sit down with them and I do a live coaching session, it goes really well because they want help. They want my take. They want me to unpack this thing with them. And so it's smooth. It works. It's like water down a river. Now, if I was just working for the government and they were just like, every time we get someone with a breakup, we're just going to shovel them your way, Mac. It wouldn't go that smooth because half the people be like, "Oh, who's this guy? You don't know avoiding attachment theory. Oh, you don't know this. Oh, you don't know that. Oh, well, how do I get my ex back in a date?" This is how it would work out. But when you get people that pay 125 bucks an hour, 220 for 2 hours, it's like they're like, "You know what? I've watched about 20 of your videos. I've seen your approach. You seem pretty genuine and honest. I'm going to take a shot at this." Much, much more cohesion and rapport is already built when you start. Now, where am I going with this? Oh, Johnny, you go to your girlfriend right now and you give all her these suggestions and all this stuff. It's just like, yeah, she's not ready. You know why? Because she's comfortable. He messaged me and asked me if I were talking to anyone else and if I were still interested in him. Okay, so how do you respond? Why do you want to know if I'm still interested in you? To which I responded, "I just want to know. He hasn't reached out since Saturday." Rob's right. This is very lame. Very lame way to reach out. Yeah, he's interested in you, and maybe he's feeling you out that he's thinking about breaking up with the other person. Um, get coffee together. This is kind of a weird situation because he broke up with you. He's with his ex. Do you really want him back? If not, keep moving forward. And if it's been 9 months, were you moving forward already? I mean, if he came back to you, everything went right, RV. Do you still want him back? Do you trust him? Yeah, she can get call back, but she doesn't apply a lot. She cherry picks apps. I told just apply to everything and go to interviews if you she's too comfortable. It is beta. Yes, I'm not nearly as upset this time around. I know he's got a lot of issues. As much as it hurts, I have to keep reminding myself that I didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, Jen. We're both 27. For how long after no contact should we reach out? Should it be phone call or text? Wondering about the best option. Uh, there is no recipe for that creative name. I do need to know your story. I know that you want to ask broad questions. I don't mind, but I mean, there is no after how long after no contact should we reach out? I don't even know if you should reach out because I don't know your story. Should it be a phone call or text? What is the predominant thing that you use already? Wondering about the best option. I legitimately think she's lazy at filling out jobs. She feels stuck. I like creative name. When you give a question like that, whatever someone gives you the answer to is just a random opinion. There's so many. Um, Someone goes, "Oh, you should do it within 1 month, 2 months." What I always tell people, if you're having a lot of trouble with no contact, have a 30-day finish line and then reassess where you're at in 30 days. But there is nothing that works, quote unquote. Like if you do this, this, and this, it'll work. But like I said, if you send in your breakup story, I could give you a better take about what's going on. I just don't know if I should reach out this time or just continue no contact and wait for him to come to me again. Sounds like you want to reach out to him. The problem with attachment styles, my eyes, attachment styles are many share the same behaviors. I agree. If someone doesn't want a committed relation, doesn't mean they are avoiding it. It's not one size fits all. Thank you, little bird. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The problem I have with these avoidant attachment styles and stuff is I just don't think there's a one size fits all. I think it's similar to astrology where you could read something and go, "Oh, that's me." I know there was a study done. I know this, and I know people like categories. They like organizing people into boxes. We do this with culture, right? I'm white. Oh, you're white, so you're this, this, and this. Okay, it's like no. It's just individually speaking, the best thing for you to do, in my humble opinion, if you have any breakup problem or relationship problem, break down detailed events, story form. This is my approach. Take it or leave it of what happened. And then what I could learn from you telling me the story from your side of you will also convey how you feel about men and women, how you feel about relationships. And that is very revealing on an individual basis because the reality is this attachment style thing, there's no way. How many attachment styles is there in all? That there could be 4 attachment styles or 5 or 6 or 8 that every human being can fall under. Well, I'm actually part this and part that. Like you spend all this time finding attachments. What's your fucking story? What happened? Tell me what happened. Tell me what you believed happened. Tell me what you believe about yourself. What do you really value in your life? What went down? Okay. So then what went down next? A situation like that could drive some people crazy and are over anxious. I'm glad you came here and engaged in these discussions. I find knowledge one of the best factors towards helping. And Rob, Jen had told me before that you had introduced her to the live stream, and I just wanted to say thanks because Jen's been great. It's been great working with Jen. At 27, he shouldn't be speaking like that. I know that many do, handling the power. Let's say you reach out. What do you have in mind in terms of what you were going to say? I'm going to talk to her tomorrow and clear everything out and make these suggestions and commands her to do certain things. And if she gives me pushback, I'm going to have to do something. Oh, she's going to give you pushback because no human being that's an adult likes to be commanded to do anything. So if a man give me happy tears, I'm his forever. Have you gotten happy tears from a man? My experience leads me to believe that this will be a back and forth, plus expect all these issues to repeat themselves forever and ever. Okay, there's 4 attachment styles for all human beings in the world. Okay, great. Unbelievable. Someone wrote a book. And they decided like all human beings fall under 4 boxes. Okay. It's a really good book. I've mentioned it before. It's really interesting. It's called I don't know if it's Hands-On Healing by William Bankston. Okay. And he doesn't say anything about these attachment styles, but he's a scientist. He's a PhD. And you know what he said? He's like, you know what really scares me? People that follow fucking textbooks. Because textbooks, all the knowledge, he goes, when you go to medical school, and I've never been to medical school, and this is just him talking, he goes, the teachers will tell you that everything's going to be wrong. 50% of everything you learn in 15 or 20 years will be wrong because science is, theorizing and changing so much. But like, the avoidant attachment thing is a textbook thing. Like, okay, so if you follow this, this, and this, it'll work with this person and this person, and this person is this, and this person is this. I'd rather know individually based what this person is as an individual, what their life experience is as an individual. The idea that, oh, well, this happened to you, so you can fit in one of 4 boxes. And then if you're in one of those 4 boxes, we can figure out if you match up with this other person really well. It's lazy. I theorize there are more than 4. In fact, I've come up with some of the new hybrid ones. See? So someone did this and originally had 4. Now, why would they create something like this? Because it'll sell a fucking book because people would go, oh my God, like I never knew this before. And then people buy it and they go, oh my God, this is so true. No, it's not true. It's someone's opinion. It's just someone's opinion. Sorry, it's just one of those things that comes up a lot, and it to me, helping you as an individual, me labeling you anything does not help you. Like the idea when someone comes to you and they go, "Oh, I have depression. I've had depression since I was a little kid." Okay. Well, the first thing I would recommend is stop identifying yourself as having depression. Okay. I have 2 ears. That's accurate. Okay. Like, so the 5th attachment style came out in the 2nd or 3rd edition of the book. Theorize there are more than, in fact, I've come up with some new hybrid ones myself. Like I said, what's your thoughts though about what I'm saying, Rob? And I respect the hell out of you. Do you understand where I'm coming from on this? Are you losing track of the fact I talked to Jen in a live coaching session? She tells me about her life, her values, her problems, how she looks at the world. And I go, oh, yep, you're avoiding attachment. I knew it. So since you're avoiding attachment, you've told me, looks like because you're this, this, and this, you're avoiding attachment, Jen. So now that you're avoiding attachment, which is extremely negative, right? Then you can go around and tell your friends, yeah, I've been diagnosed that I'm avoiding attachment according to some book someone wrote. That's their opinion based on one study that they conducted about, one culture and one thing. And now it applies to all human beings on earth. Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry. This is just. it just baffles me all the time. Um, it's the same thing though. Listen to me. And I don't have a problem with now that I got upset. Someone's like, you know, you do have a problem. I don't. My problem is if you really want help with your situation, putting an umbrella or a label on it, I don't know if it helps it. It just packages it more neatly. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I have depression. What are you sad about? Well, I have depression. No, but what are you sad about? Oh, well, when I was young, my father left my mom and it was really hard on me. Okay, can you tell me more about that? How old were you? You know, what happened next? This and that and the other. If I'm going to sit there and go, "Oh, you have depression. Oh, you have depression. How does that fix the problem? Oh, you're avoiding attachment. Oh, you're avoiding attachment. Okay." It's like, can we get to the bottom of it? I have no idea because I just don't sign up for them. I've read about the attachment styles, and it's been a while. It's been like 3 or 4 years. I'm in no way an expert on them. No way. And everyone knows from this channel, and you followed me. If it comes up, I never play like, oh yeah, avoiding like. I remember when I was reading them, and the first thing you do when you read something like this is you apply it to yourself. You're like, oh, what am I? And I remember being like, wow, I could be 3 or 4 of these, and it instantly reminded me of astrology, which I'm an Aquarius. If I read something about Aquarius, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, that's true about me. Because the information they're giving is broad, it's not specific. Now, saying that creative name, it actually, there are times when you could probably apply it and you're like, oh, this is exactly like my situation. The same if I read a column about being an Aquarius and I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what happened to me. So, and I'm not against astrology. Um, okay, Lala, I respect that. And that's a fair answer to that question. I've had other people tell me that before too, and that's fair. If you think I'm not being sensitive about that, I apologize. That's not personal. I'm just saying that uh, applying that to um, your problems all the time, it's better to dive deeper into it. And you're right. There are people with chronic depression, but I think what I was saying might have been taken out of context. What I was saying is there's a lot of people out there that just say depression, and they're not on the level that you are with chronic depression or you've been taking medication. It's very different. So, in saying that, Lala, and your experience, what is it? What makes it different from being sad when it's chronic depression? Is it a chemical imbalance, or what would make it different? True, it's an opinion. I see it as a factor that can be built upon with psychological understanding. Really just a quick assessment that can be expanded upon with further knowledge in the field. I like your assessment, Rob. I agree with your wording of it. Where can I read this so I know what I'll do next? Okay. RV, I want you just to get really clear on what it is you want. I still haven't heard you say, like, do you want to have a relationship with this guy? What would be the ideal outcome for you? Like, it's all about like, what is he going to do? What do you want? You will get pushed back, oh Johnny. And the question is, at what point do you want to just move on and move forward and agree to disagree? Because I don't think she's not gonna do until the last time you said you were gonna move out, then you got a reaction from her. Like I said, I don't know what the attachment style you would be. What up, Bob Bellman? How you doing, buddy? There are 4 attachment styles and no one fits neatly into one box. Each of us are a combination of any or all of them. People are complicated and simple at the same time. Okay. Ty, you want him back, sweetie? It hurts like hell, I know. Don't contact him. Cut him off completely. Ice cold break. If he wants, he'll step up. Little Bird's got some experience. I'm telling you all, it was spooky, but he met all the bullet points. He used the same words the theory used to describe himself. It was crazy. So he's a textbook version of that. Okay, fair enough. It's not an excuse. I still have to own my shit and deal with it. Good. Good. It's like Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you know who that is, Lala. I remember when I first realized that he came out and said he had a chronic battle with depression, and his daughter did, and here he is, a psychiatrist, a self-improvement author with all this advice and all these things, and then he just had another mental breakdown and got addicted to a drug. Life happens. I get it. Totally get it. I do think though, there's a really interesting book in Lala. You probably heard of it before, but I just revisited it this weekend. Let me double check if I get the author correct. And I think it's David Hawkins. Is that correct? Yeah, David Hawkins. Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. And one of his biggest things in the book, and maybe that's what triggered me to talk about this today, was to get rid of the titles of things when you're letting them go. And I identified with that. Mary Heen, it was the most awkward thing I've ever experienced, but he was that. I met none of the bullet points. I'm secure. Okay. I know coach is tired of me and my madness. I'm not tired of you at all. No, not tired of you at all. That particular kind of thing comes up a lot. And that's just how I feel. I have described my depression as feeling like I'm stuck in the quicksand and I can't move. Do you feel the same? Coach Matter, I do want him back, but I'm not interested if the X is in the picture. Okay, so just ask him that. Here's your answer. You've been on here an hour. I'm going to give it to you. Take it down. RV, Janina, Ty. What a name. AJT. Ask him that direct question just to get that out of the way. Are you still with your ex? And if he doesn't answer, or if he does answer, or if he answers yes, just get that the fuck out of the way. You have a right. So if she does the introspection and thinks she has to, oh, Johnny, you're not going to talk her into changing her jobs or changing. She's in a comfortable position. She works from home. She's comfortable complaining to you. She's comfortable blaming you. It's comfortable. So I don't think she's going to change. I've described my depression as feeling like I'm stuck in the quicksand. I can't make a move. Do you feel the same? Yes. Okay. Was there ever a time, Jen or Lala would be my question. Was there ever a time where you felt like you did something to break free of the quicksand? Or is it always that way? And the second question would be, in these moments where you're stuck in this quicksand, is there something triggering that specific thing, or does it just come out of nowhere? If you met all the bullet points, you don't need him back. Women, so many times they think they can heal these guys. He won't change until he wants to. Little Bird's knowledgeable on humans. I will schedule a coaching soon. Right on, Harvey. I'll help you out. And maybe you want to, what would be really good in the coaching is to unpack the actual breakup and relationship that happened. And then you can actually decide, what am I chasing here rather than will he call me back. Fifth attachment style, we call it healing attachment. And that's when a couple decides to use the partnership to heal each other, embody more love, and rewire historical insecure issues. The other day, she mentioned something about going part-time with them. That was one potential fifth attachment style that some relationship psychiatrists came up with. Okay, so someone outside of the original part. Going on 2 hours here today. It's been a while. Any specific questions? I'm going to finish up in about 10 minutes. Have some lunch. Any specific questions? Sometimes it's triggered by an event. Sometimes it's just brain chemicals. Okay, my meds stopped working, and it took months to get out of crazy town. It's when I really start using therapy to meet the gap. Okay. Have you heard of that book before? I'm not saying that this book's going to cure it, but this book that I just mentioned, letting go, the path of surrender by David Hawking or Hawkins. I don't know why I wrote Hawking. It's Hawkins. I'm sorry. Has anyone else heard of that book? I really liked it. I found it. I know you're right. I hate rejection. It's not that I miss him. It's all about the rejection. Well, half the battle, as the great G.I. Joe said, knowing's half the battle. And if you know that, then you can combat the idea. What I really liked about this book, Letting Go, and I'm going to do a book review on it because I think it's very significant in helping people with breakups, is he says, and this comes up a lot, right? We got 17 on deck on 13 likes. Thanks. I appreciate everyone today. And I'm going to get into this more in the book review, but basically we have feelings that promote thoughts. Okay, this is a psychiatrist, PhD, la-di, right? He's got all these, he's got books and all this stuff written. So this is coming from his mouth. We have feelings that actually create the thoughts. Okay, Lala, I appreciate your take, hon. No, but I'll check it out. I don't label myself as distressed, but I'm not afraid of it either. Okay, fair enough. I appreciate your opinion. Yeah, check out that book, and I'm curious to think what you think of it. So getting back to this, he says, and I agree with this. Basically, we have a feeling. Okay, so let's go with rejection, since creative name with no creative name says that's their issue. So let's say I meet a colleague and I want to go out with her, and I've been attracted to her. I feel like I felt like she was flirting with me, and I ask her out, and she shoots me down. And she's rude about it. She's like, "You're ugly, and I would never date you. You're a pig." Thanks. I'm rejected. I'm hurt. Now thoughts in my head go, well, you're a pig too. You're actually a really bad person. You know what? I should tell you know what? I'm going to tell the rest of the colleagues what you did to me. These are thoughts. Their actual feeling is, you hurt my feelings about my appearance and my act, and you rejected me. And then what he says is to keep coming back to the feeling of rejection and feel the rejection and push away the thoughts. And I played with this during the weekend. I was away. I went to they got really good deal on hotels right now at resorts and stuff. And I played with this a few times because how many times do you have a feeling that comes up that pisses you off? Someone did something and you immediately have a couple negative thoughts to accompany that. So basically the feeling comes up, the thoughts validate the feeling and flood the mind with evidence of the feeling. And he's saying just push the thoughts away, feel the feeling until you can neutralize it rather than push. So don't push the feeling away, try to push the thought away. This is interesting. He does a better job of describing it. I'm going to go into more detail when I do the book review. And I'm going to post this on the Instagram. But I don't know if we ever think of it that way. Do you ever think of it that a feeling is separate than a thought? Because a feeling is almost like an emotion in the body. The feeling generates the thoughts flooding through. So coming back to the feeling over and over again, and he breaks down different feelings. And you know what the worst feelings are to feel? The lowest level. He actually numbers them. Is blame, guilt, and shame is the lowest, which makes a lot of sense, right? And he's saying that, if you have these thoughts that come in and come in and come in and come in, you have to really get in touch with what the feeling is. And we all have certain feelings that trigger us more than others, right? There's certain situations that come up, and I looked at some of the things that bother me, because we all have things that bother us. It's not like I'm some kind of coach that's just nothing ever goes wrong for me. And I was kind of like I said, I was playing with this concept. I paused the audiobook and I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, how do I keep getting this negative mouse wheel, and these thoughts keep reinforcing it? What's the real feeling from it? And I was kind of surprised to find out what the feeling was, rather than the thoughts that kept coming up to support it. Anyhow, if you take a look at that book and let me know if what you think about it. But that's what triggered me to say these quote unquote labels. He breaks this down really more eloquent than I am, that putting a label around something gives it a packaging, if you will, a charge, if you will, of, yeah, I have this or that. And he's saying if you can eliminate that package or that a label, it's going to help you in letting it go. Sorry if I like I said, I'm going to go through the book review, and I'm glad we got into this today. Rob, so it's like both the partners are on a rebound. Coach, you've been gone for a while, been spending a lot of time at the beach. I go to the beach every morning. Yeah, this weekend I did go away. Incredible place for an incredible price. Just amazing. Amazing hotel on the beach. This is one of the silver linings of what's going on right now, which, we got to find some things that are going well. I don't know if in the States, hotels or resorts are cheaper than ever before, or if they're even open. This is what's so tough about, the COVID and all that. So is it fully healed people healing broken people, or two broken people trying to heal each other? I guess that's for Rob. Ladies, you are missing the whole point of no contact. Little Bird's dropping knowledge today. I'm just trying to move forward. What do I do now that she said she's going to hold her feelings in and not voice them? Again, I think you're at a point where you need to move out for a little bit, Johnny. I think I told you that before, and you made one step towards that, but you didn't continue on. There, I read it as two broken healing each other. I suspect it's rare, but it happens. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to your next live. Right on, RV. It's hard, so it's hard. Well, I've done no contact for over a month, though. Rejection sucks for everyone. You're not alone. There's a really good TED Talk called 100 Rejections. Um, check that out. I think you'll like it, Mary. Sounds like more like a host. Not believing in depression is like not believing in cancer. Friends that don't get it are problematic because you're alone. Have to advocate for your inner world and its ramifications. Okay, so just to clarify, if that was misinterpreted or misunderstood, which most communications are misunderstandings, when I said that earlier, I think what I was alluding to is the amount of people that now identify with depression, not on the level of, say, um, Lala saying that she's had it since she was young, and it's been a battle for a long time. There's a lot of people that loosely throw this around, and I particularly come across it a lot in breakups. And it's a word, like I said, I'm not sure if using that word is the right and is being used in the right context for a lot of different people. So I guess it's case by case, individually based. Thanks for talking about different ways to handle rejection. Right on. Like I said, a hundred rejections. I think it is. It's a young Asian guy. He's got a kind of an accent too. Check out that TED Talk. Feelings are separate from thoughts. It's going deeper than that thought. People who coach feminine energy focus mostly on feelings. By being in your feminine, men do more thoughts. Thanks for that, Judy Jack. Have you heard of that book, Letting Go by David Hawkins? Have a good night, everyone. Right on, Derek. Just get your mindset. He thinks you're out of league. The other way around. I can see it being a codependent situation can also end in disaster if there is some sort of imbalance within the two separate issues. Yes, Lala. That's the other one that I didn't touch, but it comes up all the time. And who am I to say what a narcissist is or isn't? It's become an opinion, right? But there is endless people that tell me that they read on the internet and they've now associated their ex with being a full-blown narcissist. Now I'm 39 years old. The word narcissist, I don't even remember it being common in the English language until the last 4 or 5 years when people have used the internet. I mean, did anyone call anyone a narcissist 20 years ago? It just was extremely um, not a mainstream term. But that's my point. And so that's why I said in the context that I was using it. And yeah, an actual real 100% narcissist is extremely rare. I've talked about this before. A great piece on narcissism is uh, C- Psychology in Seattle. The guy just does a great breakdown of it. Um, I just think that people carry narcissism inside them at different levels, and he breaks that down like you're a 20% narcissist, or you're a 10%, or you're this. And I guess depression could be the same way. I've been depressed before. Um, Full on chronic depression, no. Taking meds for it, no. So I cannot relate. And so my point was earlier with these breakups, sometimes people are just throwing it around there. Um, and they don't really know, and they're actually doing a disservice to repairing themselves by creating these big words that they have to overcome. But everyone, oh my god, Lala, the amount of people that claim that their exes are a full-blown narcissist. And the interesting thing is, if you were in a relationship with a narcissistic person, be thankful that you disentangled from them, because they're highly manipulative. And when you break free from them, you should feel good. And the idea that you go around pointing out that you were with them and they were such a bad person, they actually still have your energy. Creative names getting a lot of juice out of this session. Just throwing around way too. It is, Jen. I mean, it's like, and sometimes these words, and like I said, you've heard me say it before, love. Oh, I was in love with her and I loved her so much, and she didn't do this, this, and this for me. So you contribute this, and this to being love. Well, her idea of love is different. The idea that a word means this, and this to one individual, it can mean this, and this to another. Don't you agree? They make up less than 10% of the population, but the term is just thrown around too. It is. It's the other one that like I hear and I just go, okay. What it is when someone's in a breakup and they want to make their ex the bad guy or bad woman, they'll throw this one around quite frequently. But the other one that comes up a lot is people like, oh, she's bipolar, but she's never been to a doctor about it or been diagnosed. I'm like, well, how do you know? Well, I looked it up on the internet. Okay, possibly. But my favorite is that the person is a covert narcissist. I've heard that too. Yes. Oh my goodness. It doesn't show up until, well, that's the funny thing. Yeah, you're right. Until you break up. I've actually had an experience with a good friend. When I say an experience, what I mean by that is that we were friends for a few years, and then it wasn't until we had a serious falling out as friends that I realized, like, wow, this person was pretty narcissistic. I don't know if they're a narcissist 100%, but they had, and then I felt like, oh, this is now the interesting thing about that is I didn't identify that until the falling out happened, and I was able to troll through all the events, and I was kind of like, wow. But there's one podcast, Psychology in Seattle, and he just does this great job of presenting questions. Does the person exhaust you after you hang out with them? Does the person, a really good one, you haven't talked for a month and you guys talk and you're like, and they go, why didn't you call me? And you're like, well, why wouldn't you, we just haven't talked in a month. Everything's always going to be blamed onto you. They're never going to be accountable for anything, these kinds of things. At some level, like I said, if you were in contact with one of those, going around and telling everyone that they're a narcissist doesn't really help you. It's actually narcissistic in some ways. But being thankful that you realized it and now can get out of their web and get out of their way, you should feel a lot of freedom because, like I said, they're very manipulative and they can be very exhausting on your energy and your time because they have a way of getting what they want from you at all costs. Well, there's a lot of narcissists. Michael Jordan might be a narcissist. The great late Kobe Bryant could be one. These are extremely arrogant, and a lot of people around him would say selfish in some ways. Individuals that are highly respected because they've channeled it into being really good at something. I'm not suggesting that's 100% true, but some of their characteristics might line up. Every single person can be yes, that I agree, Jen. Every myself included. Someone would say that you have to be a bit narcissistic to put yourself on camera 800 times on a YouTube channel, right? The amount of times, when you meet someone and they go, and if it comes up about doing breakup coaching and having a channel, they go, "Oh, you're a YouTuber." I'm like, what does that even mean? No, I don't associate myself with being a YouTuber. Oh yeah, sure. Jen, those are the ones who have to stay away from. True narcs are actually very scary and twisted people. They're extremely selfish, manipulative, and cunning would be another word. We discussed narcissism in depth in this 4th year psychology class I had when I was in university, and that was about 10 years ago. University of Toronto. Alvin Ray, what's up, buddy? Will X come back if it's clear then there's a problem with her and even admits if she's not happy with life? Will X come back if it's clear then there's a problem with her and even admits if she's not happy with life overall and got stuck on past experiences? I don't know if this is a question. I'm sorry. Can you reword that? Because I'm having trouble reading and understanding what you're trying to say. Narcissism and depression. Okay, yeah, qualified individual, and I'm not the one to be the qualified individual to decide that, the seducer as opposed to the closer narcissist. One example of a level of narcissism is someone having a funeral for his or herself and making family and friends line up to give final nice words. Weird, but it happens. I don't get it. One example of a level of narcissism is someone having a funeral for him or herself, meaning they're still alive, or if they have a funeral for him or herself before they pass away. Doesn't narcissism have a lot of them being in control of everything? Can be, I guess. Oh, I've had people break this down to me that they've sent me videos, and the danger with these guys is the zap your self-confidence. Before long you will start to believe you don't deserve better, so you're stuck feeling like you don't know. Not healthy. Zap. Remember Roger and Zap? I want to be your man. Very simply, it's the type of guy that will make you feel good, special, only to use you to get what he wants and then leaves and goes to you. I hate selfish people. Hate's a strong word. I did feel that way. I did feel stuck sometimes. It depends on what you're on channel. For example, education versus making yourself a reality TV channel. Yeah, you're right, hun. I think when someone says YouTuber, yeah, I don't like that association because, you know, it's so amazing going to a hotel this weekend, a beautiful, gorgeous beachfront hotel. I'll post one picture or two pictures on IG. And the amount of people that were on their phones or taking, I am saying I'm going to post a picture or two. Obviously, I took some pictures, but I mean, literally taking hundreds of photos of themselves at the pool. It's just amazing. To each their own, I guess. I heard of someone doing that, having a funeral while alive. I've never heard of that. I could see that, you know where that would apply, and I've heard of this before. If someone's terminally ill, I think that's a cool thing to do. I think it would be highly emotional, but that would be cool. Making family and friends pretend they were gone and give a eulogy. It happens. That's fucked up, dude. That's twisted. You're not a YouTuber. I don't think so. This is a professional channel. Well, at times it's professional, right? But it's just funny. But like, it just goes with the broad term, like, oh yeah, YouTubers. I'm like, I don't think of myself as a YouTuber. YouTuber influencers oversaturated, all doing them mukbang videos. I've never heard of mukbang videos. I never even heard of that, dude. But yeah, I've gotten that a few times where I'm just like, what? Okay, this has been an extremely cool stream. I'm really, really appreciative of everyone that's hung around and given their opinion. Okay, let's close out with Alvin Ray. Basically, she is unhappy with life overall. She's not happy with how she looks, career, life overall. So she broke up with me when my dad passed away because she was not really there for me. Bottom line is, if someone's that unhappy, that's going to seep into your life. And do you want to deal with that, Alvin Ray? I mean, even though you're a couple and you're together, there are individual problems as a human being that you need to address. Your partner is there to support you, not do it for you. And that kind of comes into your situation, oh Johnny, you pointing it out and trying to will and push her. It's more like the ideal situation is her saying, you know what, hun, I hate this job. Are you there for me if I have to, be out of work for a week or 2 weeks and I got to go look for a new job? She needs to take the first step. Mukbang is when they eat large foods and talk to the audience while doing so. That's gross. Creating the perfect post. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think the finest compliment I can get on my channel and what I do is being genuine, and I get that comment quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it because there is a lot of disingenuine people out there. I mean, I've even had during live coaching sessions. I'll never forget this one young gentleman. I think he's 21 or 22, and he was like, afterwards, he was like, "You're really genuine in this." I was like, "Well, what were you expecting?" And he's like, "I don't know," but like he's like, "You really care." Like, you actually really care. I'm like, yeah. You know what? I am going creative. I have a fucking stuttering here. I need to eat and get some more water. Um my IG is Coach Mac McCarthy, and I'm planning on putting a schedule up there. I talked to uh my IG friend who helps me out with my IG stuff. And I'm gonna post a schedule with the live stream so I can commit to a time frame. Does that work for you, creative name? Creative name, where are you at in the world? How a person treats you is how they feel about you. You can take that to the bank. A lot of times, little bird, it's how they feel about themselves too. I do care, Mary. It's like she cared to find another place like where she's at now. I just followed you, Mac. USA. Sweet. It's one of those things. Instagram's not social media is not one of those things, but I think it's good for the people with the live stream and things like this. So, and you guys are gonna like to see pictures and stuff like that from Thailand. I was disappointed that she was not there for me during the wake. I'm sorry to hear about your father first and foremost. I don't look forward to that day in my own life. I just want to say that my condolences for that alone. And when I've had a few clients, and I'm not relating this to your situation, Alvin, that have actually lost their pets, more than one, and it's not by accident that they were highly emotional, and in the wake of that, a breakup happened because your emotions are so high, and you want support, and you want someone to be there, and you're more sensitive. And so when someone's not there for you during that time, this is not uncommon for someone to get in a breakup or feel like someone's way of being there for you is not up to par. And I think sometimes you need to take a few steps back and grieve over your father or your pet or your situation and realize that I think the really difficult situation when you lose someone close to you like that, and like I said, your pet also, it counts, like your dog or something like that, that counts. Someone's not gonna feel what you feel unless it's happened to them before. And so being upset with them or holding them accountable for not feeling enough or not being there enough for you, it's actually not fair because they cannot be at that level. And so when you take a few steps back, spend your time grieving, spend your time, going through your emotions for your father. Take a step back from the idea that she didn't do enough or she wasn't there. Just focus on whatever it is you're going to do to get through this with your family about losing your father. So after that, she goes to me and asked what's wrong after a couple of weeks of no contact. Then she tells we are on different wavelength and she admits she's selfish and I was a burden. Okay, well, that hurts. But if that's how she feels and she's being honest, that's clarity. And I'd rather have clarity than dishonesty. I'd rather have clarity than confusion. I'd rather have clarity than a bag of lies. And you got to take her word for it in that situation. And you got to You got to deal with this. And when it fucking rains, it pours, Alvin Ray. But the sun will come out again. I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but it's true. And in this time right now, I've told the people before, I've told friends this before, I've done it in my own life. You got to keep showing up for your job, for your other family and friends. And this person does not define you. What about a live stream from the beach? Okay. I'm really thinking about getting a small office over there and putting it on. Yeah, losing a parent is one of the hardest personal journeys to go through. I don't look forward to the day for myself. I haven't gone through that, but like I said, Alvin Ray, we have a supportive group here. I mean, we have fun too. It's not just all, like this. And, your dad's going to want you to move on with your life in a way with your head high. And if you settle for an individual during a time like this that's saying you're a burden and that she's selfish, like I said, it's clarity. It doesn't taste good, doesn't feel good, but it's much better than dishonesty. So I wish you all the best moving forward, my friend. Even after the breakup you happened, I would still come to my ex's dad's funeral. That's just being a real friend. Okay, I'll work on getting one done at the beach. All right, folks. It's tough, man. I lost my mom's in 2012. I'm sorry to hear that, oh Johnny. Yeah, I lost my sister a couple years ago. It's hard. It's hard. Okay, we got more beach people. Okay, I get it. I'll get on it. You're gonna start not believing me, huh? Some of the pictures I have that people are like, "Oh, this is Photoshop or something." No, it's where I live. All right, folks, this has been great. 2.5 hours. I didn't plan this, but I'm really thankful that everyone made it. We had a great discussion today. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Curtains.